Hi again then guys, and welcome to episode 4 of Party in the Back, the review series for the estate cars or wagons or station wagons or shooting brakes. Unfortunately there aren't any of those at the moment, but hopefully in the future we may get some shooting brakes on Gran Turismo. For now though, we have wagons and estate cars, and in this episode we're featuring a car which has a very small but loyal following on Gran Turismo. It's been on the game for a fair while now. It's the Volvo 240 GLT Estate. It's from 1988. It's probably one of the most recognisable and well looked upon wagons in the world. It's a hugely respected car, as are pretty much all classic Volvos, known for being incredibly safe, built like tanks, and they're just good real-world cars. They have usable power in real life. They're not built to be track machines. They're built to be reliable, powerful, relatively understated cars that just get the job done. And they do, extremely well. On the game, however, performance is really what matters for the most part. What kind of fixtures or seating arrangement a car has doesn't really have that much importance to most players. They just want to know what can it do and what can it beat. And unfortunately for the Volvo, that's kind of its downside. Because it's not a slow car per se, but it's not exactly on the same level as pretty much any of the other wagons in this series. The fact that it's old isn't really a disadvantage, because there are many classic vehicles on Gran Turismo which are still quick. It's just that unfortunately we're not really allowed to unleash much of this car's potential. You can tune it up to 367 horsepower, which certainly isn't bad, but the car is certainly capable of producing much more than that. And this is where it would be good if Gran Turismo had engine swaps and drivetrain swaps, because we could really do with that on vehicles like this. For now though, we don't have it, so we have to work with what we've got. What we got is a 2.3 litre turbocharged rear-wheel drive wagon, reasonably large but mainly in length, not particularly wide, not particularly tall, very well proportioned, I would say Volvos are. They look about right in terms of their proportion. Reasonably heavy, as Volvos are known for. Funnily enough, most of them aren't as heavy as people think they are in real life. This car, though, is one of their models which is actually a genuinely heavy car, and even with the full weight loss package, it still weighs around the same weight as a Veyron, at just over 1,400 kilos. So it's got a lot of weight to lug around, and when you've only got 370 horsepower to do that with, it's never going to be exactly worrying to something like a Skyline or a Golf GTI even. Now there are certainly cars that this can beat, but in the broad scheme of things, it's not considered by many people to be one of the quickest cars on Gran Turismo, even for its PP. Its PP is reasonably good at 467. You don't really want it any higher than that because it would just become less and less competitive. So I'd say it's pretty well placed at that PP level. It produces 262 horsepower per tonne, which isn't surprising given the relatively low power and quite high weight. Thankfully though, it is a very cheap car, at only 15,000 credits, or just under 16,000 credits. And that's good, because you don't really want to be spending loads and loads of money on a vehicle like this. As much as I love the car in real life, it's just not worth much more than that on the game in comparison to what it can do. Now that said, it's not a car without its uses. It certainly is a useful vehicle. It's very fun to drive, for a start. It's pretty unique, even though there are other wagons on the game, some slightly older ones. It's still a pretty unique car. It's arguably the only proper Volvo on the game, before they became the more mainstream, forgettable models that they are today. And it's a great drift car. It carries most of its weight over the front, it's very easy to drift with, and Volvos are well known in real life and very popular for drifting. Overall though, the performance just doesn't have the range that I wish it had. If this car had... I'm not asking for like Corvette power, that would be nice, but within reasonable limits, if this car even had, say, 450 horsepower. That would do it so much more of a service than 370, because it would allow the car to really be so much more competitive and unleash so much more of its potential. As it is, it's not a bad car, but kind of like the Subaru Legacy, it tends to very easily get overshadowed by the more in-your-face and obvious choices like the RS4 and the RS6 from Audi. It's certainly not a bad car, it has lots of charm, but from a performance point of view, if you're planning on buying one, you need to know beforehand, so that you're not disappointed, that its range of effectiveness is far more limited than most other wagons. But overall, certainly a nice car in its own way, different to everything else on the game, and hopefully in the future we'll be able to unleash more of the car's potential, and it would also be nice to see it in premium form. But that's it for this episode. I'll see you guys next time, and as always, thanks for watching.